Hello. Welcome to the Creative Business Owners series by Everyday Happy Humans, that is the Sunday special edition of Daily Marathwada Sathi. This is Devika Biyani, your host for the series, and we are going to capture some creative business owners and their stories through this series. We have found some professionals who have converted their passions into full-time careers and businesses for themselves. These people have unlocked some very unique ways to find happiness in their work and moved on from their course to make some very bold decisions and make their businesses a real life story. We are going to explore some 12 to 13 different business stories through this series. So here we are. Let's get started with the story of today. And today we have with us a creative business owner whose story will definitely leave a smile on your faces.
Hi, my name is Katyayni Somwanshi. I'm an architect. I'm from Aurangabad. I've done my bachelor's in architecture from MIT College, Aurangabad, and I've done my post-graduation in landscape architecture from Pune, PVP College of Architecture. So I'm here to talk about the firm, which is actually a partnership firm, and the partners are my closest friends, and it's AHKS Design Studio. And the name of the firm actually indicates the name of us four, that is Ashwini, Himanshu, Katyayni and Sharvari. So we have been friends since our bachelor's, and that was when we decided we planned to work together in the future. So that was really a very vague thought when we used to discuss about that while doing our architecture. So it felt like a dream back then, but then we kind of started with it very recently. So I would first like to talk about few personal things, something like how my journey started as an individual, as an architect. So it is really important to mention that I've been raised by a single parent, my mother, and she has been a greatest inspiration for me. I've just followed what she does. She has never guided me, to be honest, but I've just followed how she is and how she behaves. During my childhood, I used to go for tuitions. So my teacher, her husband was an architect, and that was back in 2005, I guess. I was just a kid. I was third or fourth standard. And I saw the way he used to do the drafting. So it all used to be manual back then. All the architectural sheets, they used to be rotring pens, and he used to draft everything using a T-scale. He used to make the rendered trees. He used to detail out the buildings, and that was really inspiring. I was a really shy kid. I did not really express that to him back then. But that was the biggest inspiration, and then I started telling people that I want to pursue architecture as a career. So I did not really know what it takes to be that, but then ultimately while being in my 9th grade, I realized that all my strengths, like I was really good in mathematics, I was really good with technical things, I was good with drawings, and I realized that all this can help me to become a good architect. So I decided to go ahead with that, and I've been lucky. My mother supported me in everything, and I decided to go ahead with that. I completed my bachelor's after that. That was there were challenges. It wasn't just something that I thought it would be. It wasn't that simple, definitely, but I realized that it is something that I can do, but I wasn't sure if I will ever be able to start with something of my own or start with something like a business. And later on, I did job at Yogendra Balla sir's office, which is a landscape firm. Till that time, I wasn't sure if I want to pursue masters, but when I practiced in his firm, I realized that landscape is a very beautiful field, and it has kind of a freedom of design. which is pretty much limited when you think of architecture or interior. And I found it really interesting, and I realized, like, after working in his firm, I decided to do my master's in landscape architecture. And while pursuing my post-graduation, I believe I became pretty much sensitive about a lot of things. Architecture, about nature, and I believe an architect can be a little bit insensitive to nature, but a landscape architect is the core is sensitive about everything that is living, and that is something I think adds to an architect. And later on, while completing my thesis, so we all came together again. We started getting projects already. Those were interior projects in the start, and then we talked about it, 4 of us, and we thought that let's start a practice, let's start doing it. So we did not really even decide what is going to be the name or how are we going to start it. We used to call ourselves AHKS because that was just a project that we did back in second year, and we went ahead with that name, and we started getting projects, and we rented a place as a small office, and that is how it came through. Roads that didn't work for me or for any architect, I would say a job profile, I believe, does not suit an architect, or maybe it's not a long-term thing to go ahead with, because architecture is a very creative thing, and creativity does not happen below somebody. It might, but it won't last for long. Creativity is something that you think you should own the credits of it, and that can only be possible if it is something that you're doing of your own. Finding the one big thing, I would believe 4 of us coming together was the biggest thing to happen. It still feels like a dream, and I want that to continue forever. Starting a business was a challenge, definitely. But I believe all 4 of us are very different. There's Ashwini, who is a postgraduate in conservation. There's Himanshu, who is a postgraduate in urban design. There's Sharvari, who is very, I would say, quirky. So we 4 of us are very different, and that adds on to all the creative designing process. There are 4 brains together, and that helps us really go ahead quite well. My mother has been the biggest cheerleader, definitely, but everybody around me has totally cheered me all the time, pushed me. Yeah. The most favorite part of being a small business owner is that I believe being in a small business, you get to work into smallest of the details. You get to do everything all by yourself, and that is a very interesting thing to do. That is basically a learning part which you might distribute within the people when the business expands. But this particular process where you get to do everything, like talking with the carpenter, talking with the electrician, procuring materials for the site, talking or deciding the smallest of the details that are going to happen on the site, and thinking about it, working on it, executing it. So I feel that is the best part to do, and that is something I believe if the business becomes big, this is something that is going to be lost. So I believe this is the thing. I usually go for comedy movies, and Hera Fairy is something I can watch 100 times. But inspiration, I would say The Pursuit of Happiness. That is an amazing movie. The feedback that you have got. Be open for creativity and be open for sharing of ideas. I guess Kangna Ranaut's house. Thank you so much. Everyday Happy Humans by Daily Marathwada Sathi.
Hey, I'm back. So wasn't this a very interesting story? We have more such people who have expressed their happiness and unlocked happiness for themselves at their work. Keep checking this YouTube channel for more stories and check out Everyday Happy Humans, that is the Sunday special edition of Daily Marathwada Sathi. Link in bio.